Brad Holmes had his radio show today, and once again, he was poked about now drafting an edge rusher in the early rounds. Now, let me say ahead of time before we do this, I did want Brad Holmes to get 2 edge rushers, double dip like he did last year, or get an edge rusher and get a game changer like Jaheed Campbell. None of that didn't happen. So let's listen to Brad Holmes, and I will respond. I don't own the rights to this content. It's for educational purposes only. Let's hear what Brad Holmes has to say once again about the edge rushing position.
So you don't see that the way that on the outside we see that?
Well, I'm curious, like, you know, let's look at all the, so you brought up Aiden Hutchinson. Would you say Aiden Hutchinson is an elite edge rusher?
Yeah.
Okay. How many elite edge rushers are in the NFL?
I'd say 5 or 6.
Okay, I think that's fair. And obviously there's 32 teams in the NFL, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually 2 edge rushers on the field at the same time, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're in, barring injury or anything else, now you're talking about 64 players, right? We have one of the 5 or 6, right? Why? How come all of the 5 or 6? How come it's not just 1 or 2 when you look at the whole team? Like, how come one team doesn't have 2 elite ones?
I don't know that the ask is
another team that doesn't have 2 elite ones. Well, we talked about it. They're hard to find, they're hard to get, they're hard to acquire. But I have felt like ever since we have acquired Aiden Hutchinson, as great of a player he is, I always felt like the fan base is almost mad.
I think at this point, most Lion fans would be more confident if we brought Zadarius Smith back. That's real talk. But as far as the Lions fans wanting 2 elite rushers, he's right. Because remember when Myles Garrett wanted to be traded? I've seen content creators and Lions fans losing their mind. Why doesn't Brad Holmes get Myles Garrett? Trade all their picks, throw everything in. Let's go all in and get Myles Garrett. Max Crosby, Trey Hendricks, the same song. I was in the minority. I didn't want any of those guys because I know they're going to want $35, $40 million. And it would hurt us down the line trying to sign our players, giving our players extensions. It would have hurt us signing a player like that. Now, some people in the Lions community are walking it back. We don't want 2 edge rushers, but them the same people that wanted Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, and Trey Hendrickson, and they were willing to trade everything to get them. So I understand what Brad Holmes said that because that's true. Some fans of the Lions community wanted 2 elite edge rushers. Let's continue.
Like, they're mad because we have Aiden Hutchinson. Because now he's so good. Well, why don't you have 2 of them? And they have an elite edge rusher. All you do is get questions about edge rusher. But you have an elite one. But all you're asking about is, well, how come you don't have another one?
Brad Holmes also pointed out that he could draft an edge rusher in any round. Remember he said that? But it doesn't mean he's going to fit what we do. Doesn't mean he's going to be any good. We could draft Abdul Carter, get up to number 3. And the fans will be like, yeah, we got Abdul Carter. But when Abdul Carter doesn't perform in our defense like we want him to, what are we going to say? We're going to say, well, Brad Holmes drafted a high-priced Broderick Martin. Not to say that Abdul Carter is a bust, because he looks like he's the real deal from what I'm seeing. Brad Holmes is saying that I can draft you an edge in the first round. Doesn't mean he's going to be any good. Brad Holmes is drafting to build a great football team all around, not just for edge. And like I said before in the beginning of the video, I wanted him to get edge, 2 edges, but it didn't happen. And I'll tell you what else Brad Holmes believes. He believes if he did not have all those injuries on defense, they would have been good enough to win the Super Bowl. So to Brad Holmes, he didn't think he had to do too much to the defense. And he might be right. Like I said, I would feel more confident if he re-signs Zadarius Smith. But anyway, let me know what you think about Brad Holmes' comments. BZ Sports, I'm gone.